Gear up, people! American heavyweight boxer Deontay Wilder made his way back to the ring last month when he took over Robert Helenius atop a premier boxing champions card in NYC. But that's not the only fight we want. In this video, we'll talk about a potential Deontay versus Francis Ngannou fight and some updates on how the latter player is currently doing. Let's jump right in. First up, Deontay has declared a time limit for himself. And when we say time limit, we're talking about retirement prospects. Before his highly anticipated comeback, the 36-year-old boxer was engaged in many conversations with reporters. Naturally, everyone wanted to know what was up and what was to come next. We wanted it all. Well, it turns out the star has given himself a deadline. Deontay says that he's given himself 3 to 4 years in which he aims to get back boxing's world championship title. After that, he'll retire for good. As sad as the retirement part is, we can't help but squeal with excitement because we get to see the star try for the title. This means he's got many matches in his way and aims to win them all. We can hardly wait. People close to the boxer, and we're talking about people at the PBC here, we're hoping for a highlight reel knockout. You know, something that could regain that momentum Wilder had until back-to-back defeats to Tyson Fury. And we think the Kings got off to a great start. Coming up, Wilder won over Helenius with a crushing blow in the first round. Well, he's won the eliminator fight for the World Boxing Council full world title held by his longtime rival Tyson Fury. Deontay delivered a crazy blow to Robert in the first round and stood victorious. And the speed at which he went at it. The fighter's introduction probably lasted longer than the actual fight. This just shows how dedicated and committed Wilder is to winning that title. He didn't wait. He didn't create any buildup. He just went all out as soon as the bell rang. Helenius went on top of his rival to answer the offensive. And what did Wilder do? He simply walked backward and cornered himself. Assuming little risk, Helenius charged forward only for Wilder to meet him with a right hand that sent him falling onto the canvas. The man wasn't going to recover from that. Nope, not even if we counted to 100. That was a crushing blow if we ever saw one. It established the boxer's authority and solidified his claim to the full world title. Now the question was, what would come next? Now many opponents are in line. One of them has caught our eyes. Everyone knew that bouts against unified champion Alexander Usyk or PBC stablemate Andy Ruiz Jr. would be next in life if Wilder defeated Helenius. Now that he has, these fights are closer than ever, and we can't wait to see what Deontay does to them. And while these fights are exciting and opponents are worthy, there's one person here we could have never seen coming. A very unlikely opponent, but not a boring one. It's none other than Francis Ngannou. Yes, the Ngannou, who's the UFC heavyweight champion. Wilder says that he'd most definitely fight Francis. He said, "I think that would be an intriguing fight, and it would be a fight that would bring a lot of interest." He's right. We're intrigued. We can't imagine anyone who wouldn't be. Moving on, Francis has always wanted a super boxing fight against Deontay. He's been wishing for it for years now. In 2019, Ngannou was hopeful that his UFC career would lead to a huge payday for the boxer. What's more, he even name-checked Deontay as a potential opponent. He also knows that people would doubt that, and he's not wrong. We're sure some of you think the whole thing is quite weird, but then again, the idea of Francis fighting in the UFC was weird for many people at first, but Ngannou proved them all wrong. Talking about the possibility of fighting against Wilder, the fighter said that he's a believer and has faith in his dreams, even if they may sound outlandish to others. He said, "That's why I'm here." And he was right in having that faith. Years later, this fight is becoming something that both opponents are interested in, not to forget our fans as well. Next, Wilder says he's discussed it as an option with the PBC authorities. Well, it's more than mere interest at this point. Deontay openly admitted to discussing the prospects for such a fight with PBC boss Al Haymon behind closed official doors. He told Insider that the opportunity had been mentioned before, and even the boss agreed. What was their logic behind it? Money. If it makes dollars, it makes sense. He's looking forward to seeing that fight in the future, and so are we. Who knows when we'll see it? It could be in a few months. What a fight it will be. In the words of Wilder himself, the future is bright. As for Ngannou, he knew many years ago that he'd have to compromise with with the UFC if he was going to cross over into the boxing ring, but that was 3 years back. The fighter has yet to renew his deal with the top MMA firm, and there are many speculations about a boxing clause making its way into any new contract for the fighter. With that, he wouldn't need to compromise. He has it in writing. Wilder has been frequently seen at UFC sites over the past summer for the big one. Now that's some confirmation of an alliance, isn't it? Deontay was seen using one of the UFC's gyms in Las Vegas, where he held a media workout in September, but that was one of this champion's many public appearances at UFC properties. He frequently attended Dana White's Contender Series shows. He was also seen at a UFC Fight Night event at the Apex. His increasing interest in Ultimate Fighting gave rise to many questions. Insider asked Deontay who of the many standouts impressed him most at Apex. The boxer had to choose from many names like Bo Nickal, Cameron Saman, and Raul Bosas Jr. In true diplomatic fashion, the 36-year-old said they were all great. He couldn't put his finger on one of them and said they stood out more than the other. He also mentioned that he loves going to Dana's Contender Series. These boxers fought with all their might just to earn a UFC contract that could help support their careers and their families, just like Wilder is doing right now. He recalled some of the guys looking over at him and being starstruck. Deontay believes that he would be a major boost for them as they knew that someone that they looked up to was watching them, making them want to perform much better. The boxer said that it made his heart warm. "Aw, we're sure it did, Deontay. The feeling of when you know you mean so much to people is something only a few greats can experience, and you have earned it more than anyone." Coming up, here's some news about Francis Ngannou's injuries. Let's talk a bit more about our UFC champion for a bit. God knows he's been through a lot this year. At UFC 270 at the start of the year, Francis went up against Ciryl Game, battling through a grueling match to win over his rival. But that win didn't come easy for the star. After the contest, Francis and his team confirmed that the fighter had been dealing with a major knee injury in the lead up to fight night. It was so serious that it could require surgery, which has kept Francis on the shelf. The heavyweight champion has been making solid progress since then, but back then, we can't even imagine the amount of pain he must have been in. Finally, Extreme Couture head coach Eric Nicksick spills the beans. Nicksick just revealed some nasty details about his students' injuries in a recent interview, and let us tell you, it's bad. It was so bad that everyone thought he should pull out of the fight. This man was walking around with an NFL lineman's knee brace for the whole month. How could he possibly get into the octagon and fight? The coach recalled how he was completely freaking out. They were there, they put the whole camp together, and they were ready to go. Come on, there was only 1 week left, and they still didn't know whether he'd be able to fight or not. The last straw came when the doctor called and warned them against the fight. He mentioned the possibility of irreversible knee damage, which, as we're sure you can all imagine, is a fighter's worst nightmare. But when Nicksick relayed this information to his student, Ngannou stood his ground. He knew that his knee was shattered, and he knew it would be bad for him, but he still went ahead with the fight. Francis said, "I shouldn't fight this fight, but we're doing it anyway." And that's a wrap for this video. Are you excited about a potential Wilder vs Ngannou fight? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.